Ahoy, folks! It's the 6th of June. I'm your host, Craig Reed, and today I'm joined by Fraser Gilbert.
Hello.
And Ben Kerry.
Hello.
Of course, Summer Game Fest is right around the corner, and this is the Pure Xbox prediction show for this year's Xbox Game Showcase. And I say show like this is something that we do regularly on Pure Xbox YouTube. But this is actually the first time I've managed to successfully coax the Pure Xbox editor, Fraser, from the land of writing over into the realm of video. Isn't that right?
It is right, yeah. Here we are in Videoland. Uncharted territory for me.
Yes, it's not, though, for Ben. It's not his first time. We've had you on before to talk about Redfall, which is kind of bittersweet now we think about it.
Yes, I've made my return, and I'm hoping that this isn't as cursed as Redfall.
No, because that bless them, it's a very cursed state of affairs over there. But we have exciting things that we're going to talk about, and that's Summer Game Fest, which, yes, it's just around the corner, but specifically the Xbox Game Showcase, which is on Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time or 6 p.m. British Standard Time for anybody watching in the UK. And what we're going to do here is talk about what we think is likely to show up during the showcase, our definite predictions, then maybe we can start to wander into what we'd like to see during the show, and then round up with some absolute wildcards or something like that. Does that sound good for you guys?
Absolutely.
Yep, sounds great.
Cool. Well, before we get going, the first thing I wanted to do was just gauge the excitement levels that we have for the show. I want to know, if you were to give it a number, what would you give it, and why? We'll start with Fraser.
Yeah, it's an interesting year because obviously it's been a rough few months in terms of layoffs and news along that front. But I still think, I don't know, I'm excited. When it comes to the games, I think there's still a lot to be excited for. We've got a lot of games even this year, Indiana Jones, Avowed, that we're expecting to get dates for at this show. So my hype level is pretty high still. I think we're gonna have a good show.
What would you put a number on that? What would you go for?
I'll give it an 8. I'll give it an 8. We'll settle
an
on
8
for now.
That's a like above safe. So we're kind of excited. Ben, what do you think?
In terms of a number, I'd probably go 8 as well. I am quite excited about it. I think there's just so much. I think for it to be like the first showcase since Activision are properly on board, I think that's exciting in itself. I think there is a tinge of sadness with the Bethesda layoffs, but I'm still very excited, and I think that we kind of need this. We need to just talk about games and have an exciting show. So, 8 out of 10.
We got 2 8s. Cool. Well, it's funny you say that, because I think if I'm going to look at this from a purely game standpoint, I would say maybe it's about an 8 as well. Pushing a 9, if what I hope to be there is going to be there, which would just be something from the Coalition. But I will say it's definitely a 10 out of 10 for me, purely for the fact that I'll actually be at the Academy Museum of Motion Pictures in Los Angeles, which, you know, this show is happening, and I'll be able to watch those reveals live and in person on behalf of Pure Xbox. And, you know, it's I'm so excited. It's a genuine bucket list stuff. I've kind of got my rose tinted glasses on, considering all of the, you know, bad news that we've had, but it's these things that we get to celebrate. It's what we're excited about, and there is some definite like excitement going around.
Yeah. This is what we're all here for at the end of the day. So, and we are very jealous that you're going to be there.
We are very, very jealous.
Well, I'm very, very glad that I have you two boys at home helping me out while I'm there, because I am going to
Slaving
be a
away on the
busy boy.
keyboards.
Yeah, I'm going to be slaving away, playing these games, watching these showcases in person. But yeah, we're very excited at least. So we got 2 8s. And I would say, probably because I'm going to be there, it's a 10. It's definitely a 10.
It's got to be a 10 for you. It's got to be.
Yeah, it has to be, right? For context, last year during the Xbox Game Showcase, we got a look at quite a few games, and I'll name a few here. Playground Games shared a look at the Fable reboot. Compulsion Games revealed South of Midnight. Obsidian shared their first proper look at Avowed. In Exile Entertainment announced Clockwork Revolution. Obviously, Microsoft Flight Simulator showed up, and as well as a few other games like 33 Immortals, Capcom's Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, and Towerborn. And I mention those games because they're supposedly coming out this year, but we haven't got release dates for them. So they're just food for thought. There's something there for us to think about. Maybe we can talk about them later on, but that's what we had last year. So, there was some pretty big reveals.
Yeah, absolutely there were. Yeah, and we're expecting to get at least quite a few dates this year for a lot of these games, but who knows if some of them have been delayed. We're also hearing a rumor about one of them potentially being shadow dropped at the show.
Yeah, I mean, these are things that we're like potentially, hopefully might see, but I thought we'd start this video off with definites, games that we definitely think are guaranteed to show up during the Xbox Game Showcase this year. And obviously the big one that we know is happening, everybody knows because it's on the poster, is Call of Duty Black Ops 6. There's a whole hours section after the main show, kind of like what they did with the Starfield Direct last year. But Ben, why don't you take this one? Tell us what you know, what you think.
I'm pretty excited about Black Ops 6. I know there's kind of a collective sigh when Call of Duty gets mentioned sometimes, but I am still excited about it. And I think Treyarch, who are the main developers on this one, they haven't had like this long to develop a Call of Duty game in ages. And they're kind of like, they've now become like the premier Call of Duty developer. It's been a decade since Call of Duty was aligned with Xbox as well. All the things are coming together, all the pieces are fitting together. It's kind of cool that it's getting its own direct as well, because all of these people that are still sighing about Call of Duty kind of get the main Xbox show and then that's separate.
You know, when those old E3 shows where EA Sports would come on the stage and everyone would sigh and go, oh, here we go. And I would be the one sitting in the corner being like, I don't know what you're talking about. I can't wait. This was my favorite bit of the show. And I now understand what they were talking about because I feel the same way about Call of Duty. Sorry, Ben. But when they said a direct for Call of Duty, my mind just goes, oh, no, here we go.
You just glaze over and you just...
Yeah, I'm not interested enough. I mean, the only thing I'm going to be interested in is if they throw some backwards compatible games in there. But yeah, it's not one for me. But hey, it's of course they're going to do it. They've just picked up the license. They've picked up Activision Blizzard, so I understand the reason behind it.
Do you reckon we're gonna see some sort of like a playable beta announcement coming out in the future, maybe on Game Pass for Black Ops 6? Like, how do we think they're going to present the show?
It's a strange one because Call of Duty reveal cycles are so weird, and usually they're kind of drip fed, even though we get one every year. And this kind of sounds like it's going to be different, where it's like a big showcase in one go. So yeah. I'm expecting to see all aspects of this game, like campaign, multiplayer, zombies. I do think we're going to see everything. In terms of a beta, they might tease it. I'm not expecting like a guaranteed announcement, but yeah, I'm sure it'd be open to all Game Pass players when it does arrive, but I'm not sure that we'll get that level of like specific detail during this show.
So we're thinking more of a reveal, just like a deep dive into what we're going to see.
Yeah. I'd expect like a top-down, like this is what campaign looks like, this is what multiplayer looks like, this is what zombies, and then maybe and you'll get to play it this August or however they'd go, but that'd all be revealed further down the line, I think.
You could also, I guess, like bridging the gap between then and now is a lot of talk about, the acquisition happening. We're going to see a lot of those Activision Blizzard games on Game Pass. Do we think that will happen during the Xbox Game Show? Or Possibly. Do you think that we'll start to see like Call of Duty games all dropped in this Call of Duty Black Ops 6 like hour special? Do you reckon they'll handle that there?
I think we're going to get something. And I don't know exactly what, but yeah, there's we've got these rumors about Call of Duty, all the old games. That's going to be a massive drop if it happens, because we've seen that every time these old Call of Duty games go on sale, they always top the charts.
I was about to say they are on sale now, so you can buy them for cheap. But you could argue that like that's a last ditch effort to get some money out of them before they become like a part of a subscription service.
And it's working, it's still working, even though people know they're going to go on Game Pass soon. So that will be huge. And then, we're seeing signs that Crash and Spyro are being readied for Game Pass. They don't always do this with Game Pass. Sometimes they play it weird with the showcase and put them out at different times. But around the showcase, I'm pretty sure we're going to see something. I don't know what, but something.
I kind of expect some sort of roundup to happen around the show, like Fraser's just said. But also, because that direct is so Black Ops themed, and they kind of maybe they want to like drip feed them a bit. I could see them just Treyarch kind of being like, yes, all of our Black Ops games are now in Game Pass, and doing it that way, and then we may get some of the other Call of Duties as like a completely separate thing. But I think we need to get something outside of Call of Duty as well.
Well, I just wanted to mention as well, with a lot of people have been talking about, you know, that 10-year deal with Nintendo with Call of Duty. I will go on right. I'll just say I don't think we're going to hear any of that at all, because I don't think that that's a Microsoft announcement to make. I think it's going to be a Nintendo announcement to make, and I think we'll probably get that when they start to reveal the Switch 2, like the new hardware, and it'll be one of those things that comes along with that. At least that's my opinion. I wouldn't hold your breath that you're going to get some Nintendo Game Pass like collaboration. I don't think that's going to happen. Moving forward, if we're talking about new hardware, we're talking about hardware in general. We do believe that one of the definite things that is going to happen is Microsoft are going to unveil some sort of hardware plan. Maybe that's something handheld, perhaps a look at a digital mid-gen refresh or controller technology. There's been a lot circulating over the past year, and even more so now. Fraser, what do you think we're likely to see from Microsoft from a hardware perspective?
We're going to see some kind of Xbox Series X refresh, I think. We've seen rumors about a white Xbox Series X. There's pictures of it, so it doesn't seem like it's fake, or someone's gone to a lot of lengths to make it fake. There's also been a leak of a controller. That was part of the leaks last year. That's very possible. And then also a portable handheld, which would be an unbelievable announcement if it does happen, and I would be extremely excited for that if they're going to bring a ROG Ally and a Steam Deck Challenger to market. But who knows on what kind of form that would take. So there are a lot of possibles here. Of course, they've announced already that there's new hardware in the works for the next generation of Xbox, which they've been teasing as well. So it's an exciting time.
I was going to let you get away with it, but did you say ROG Ally?
ROG Ally, yeah.
Is it Ally or is it Ally? I don't know.
Oh, is it Ally? I don't know. I don't know.
I've been calling it the Ally. It could be the Ally.
Have Jesus teased the Ally G?
Exactly.
The ROG Ally G. That's the next one. That's the next one.
Yeah, that's the sequel.
Oh, why did they make the ROG Ally X instead of the ROG Ally G? That would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Personally, I'd love a new handheld. We always want it from like the horse's mouth, though. So by that I mean I love my ROG Ally. It's got native PC Game Pass. I can play all my favorite Game Pass games on there. But I often find it's quite limiting, like especially from an achievement hunting perspective. Not everything on Xbox and PC Game Pass is smart delivery. So I end up with like two versions of the same game and end up splitting between the two and just... But then you've got like third party games like EA and Ubisoft that basically launch the game through their PC clients, so you don't even get achievements for those games on PC. Yeah. So the idea that Microsoft would to release like a handheld device with, say, I think the rumor was going around that it's like got the same capability as a Series S maybe. But if it was like a portable Xbox console as opposed to a portable PC, I think that would be the best case scenario.
Yeah, 100%. That would be amazing. My only fear is that they're going to do a Diablo thing on us here and go, oh yeah, we've made one, but it's just cloud gaming. There's no native capability. And then you just go, oh.
Before Valve did the Steam Deck, they did that like Steam Machines thing where they just like made PCs that they let other manufacturers like call a Steam machine. I've got this weird feeling that Microsoft are gonna like create some sort of Xbox handheld that then like loads of people can just go and make.
Like it's a kit or a software or something like that.
I think, like you were saying about the Series S, it'd be amazing if they could get like a Series S handheld where all of those games that are optimized for Series S just work straight on it. But I think it's going to be PC based.
There's a lot as well to point towards cloud gaming. They've invested a lot of money in that, so it kind of feels like they've been ignoring that lately. I think Sarah Bond recently in an interview was just talking about like how great cloud gaming is and how much stuff that Microsoft has invested into it as a growing market. Mm-hmm. So it would be weird for them to not angle that way, but I don't like cloud gaming. I don't think I've ever really vibed with it.
I think it says a lot that Phil Spencer and people like Aaron Greenberg and Major Nelson, when he was at Xbox, were carrying around handhelds and Xbox Series S portable kits and not necessarily playing on cloud gaming that much, even though it's such a big deal inside of Microsoft, and yet they still feel the need to use these native devices.
To round off what I think is our definite list, we think the last definite is going to be Starfield Shattered Space expansion DLC, right? That's the last thing that we think is definitely going to be there.
Obviously, Starfield is getting on for a year old, which is kind of crazy. Like it'll only be a few months until it's a year old, and I think Todd Howard's spoken about them aiming for this year with Shattered Space, so I can't see why we won't see it. Recently, they did the huge update with 60 FPS and all that, and they started to tease land vehicles and transportation systems and all this stuff. So I'm kind of hoping that some of that's built into Shattered Space and it's a little bit more kind of compact and digestible, because Starfield was a bit, for some people, it was a bit too expansive.
With this DLC, we're looking at like a major expansion as well, which is funny considering people were like, oh, it's too expansive, but we're getting more now. We're getting new story content. It's going to have locations, like new ones, Bethesda-built locations, some gear, and some other bits and bobs. You mentioned that land vehicle. We did get to see it, and I think a lot of gamers were put off Starfield because exploration was just tiresome. I'm looking forward to that. I mean, the 60 FPS boost for Series X, I genuinely think it's great. I think if they keep the momentum running and they show off this Shattered Space expansion DLC, do we reckon it's going to be an announcement trailer? Do we think we'll get a release date trailer? What do you think it will be, Fraser?
So maybe a little teaser, a little release date that we can look forward to in November or December or something like that. That would be a nice way to do it. And if they throw an arachnophobia mode in there, that means I could play Starfield. So that would be great.
I'd make the argument that you don't really see enough spiders to be scared of
but
Starfield.
Listen, I come out of a ship, I stand on the planet, and there's a potential of some creepy thing running at me and tearing my face off. I would rather just get back in the ship and just sit there. So that's it for me. So put the arachnophobia mode in. I will play your game.
Me and Craig are sat like asking for more spiders.
Yeah.
Just cheap enemy. We don't need more spiders in video games. There are too many spiders in video games. Cheap enemy. We don't want it.
That's confirmed. I guess we'll just move on. We don't want to talk about Starfield anymore.
No more spiders.
No spiders in Starfield. Thank you.
Or any other game.
Or any other game. I guess we'll move on to like the most likely things now. The things that we hope to see during the showcase. It's things that we may have heard are going to be there, or fingers just generally point to these announcements during the show, but not something we'd definitely put our money on showing up. I think the first thing I'd like to talk about is something historically that we always seem to get a look at in some shape or form, and that's a new Forza game. A new Forza Horizon, to be exact. But Ben, do you want to take this one?
I was sort of edging my bets on this being something that comes a little bit later, another Horizon game, but I just think the way that Motorsports landed, which has been a little bit disappointing, and Playground just seemed to churn these things out like it's nobody's business. So I think we'll get a teaser for Horizon 6. I don't think it's this year. People have been talking about Japan as a setting for donkey's years now, so I'd like it at this point as well, because it'll just be different to the existing Horizon games.
Yeah.
So definitely not a lock-in, but
it's almost like guaranteed in our brains that we're going to get some sort of Forza game. Like it's an annual occurrence at this point. But Playground Games are working on Fable right now.
Yes.
Which is kind of like a shifting gear for them. They usually do driving games, and now they're doing Fable.
I saw that shifting gear joke.
Yeah. This reboot could be taking their attention, so it's not something that we're going to, put our money on. But I would be with you in saying that, we'd see a Forza game show up in some capacity.
Yes. I think, by all accounts, they are working as like a two-person team to an extent now. I'm assuming there is some crossover with Fable, but I think there's still a core team there that's working on Horizon.
Yeah.
I think Horizon has a chance of showing up, but I'm not expecting it. And as Ben says, if it does, I don't think we're looking at a release this year. Last time with Horizon 5, yes, it was teased very late, and then it came out very shortly afterwards. But we were hearing things, particularly, I remember Jeff Grubb was the one who was saying, I'm hearing that Horizon is coming out this year, and I know a lot of people were very quick to dismiss that and say, no chance. We haven't even heard about it before. And then it did. This time, no noise at all about Horizon, and I just feel like we would know something if it was going to come out this year.
Yeah.
So a tease is very possible, but I don't see it happening in 2024.
You bring up Jeff Grubb and him hearing things in the industry, because he's also been on record in a Kind of Funny podcast, I believe, hearing about my personal top of the wish list, Gears 6. Something that the Coalition, we know, are working on. They've dropped other projects to start producing Gears 6 fully. This year is probably the best time, if anything, to, drop something Gears 6 related during the showcase, maybe a teaser, a tech demo, anything, just something to say that Gears 6 is running on Unreal Engine 5. It's going to look pretty, and it's coming. That's basically what I'm expecting. I would love to be able to put my money down and say Gears 6 is showing up, but in my heart, I want it to show up, but my head is telling me that there's a chance that if it's not this year, it's definitely next year.
I think you should have more faith.
I'm a Gears fan. It's been like 5 years.
It is going to show up this year, and it doesn't. I don't know if it's going to be. Again, it might just be a short teaser, but it will show up, and we will know that it exists by the end of Sunday night or whatever time you're on.
Yeah.
Do you think it's definitely Gears 6, or do you think it's Gears related? Because I have a feeling Netflix is going to show up quite big during Summer Games Fest. They've started putting their fingers into the game pool, and there's games going to Netflix now. And I just think that maybe there's also a collaboration there with the Xbox Game Showcase, where they're going to say Gears is showing up as a TV show, as a film. Here's like a little hint, because we haven't heard anything really about that. Yeah. So, if we're hearing things about Gears showing up, it might not necessarily be Gears 6. It might be the Gears TV show. It might be the film.
Well, if you remember with Gears 5, I remember they came out and made a big thing about, like, we're dropping the of war part of it, and it's Gears 5, Gears Pop, and Gears Tactics.
Rest in peace, Gears Pop.
Rest in peace, Gears Pop. But they've done that before, where they're not afraid to show multiple Gears projects at the same time. And back to Fraser's point, they're not afraid to show Gears quite a bit in advance as well.
Yeah.
I think with Gears 4, I distinctly remember it being shown like 2 years. I think it was like 2015 and then 2016 as well. So I think, again, I think you should have more faith as well.
I definitely should have more faith. The voice actor for JD, what's his name? Liam McIntyre. He also took to Twitter and as well just like dropped a massive hint that the Coalition is going to give like some details on some characters' fates in June, which coincides with the Xbox Game Showcase. Yes. But he is the voice actor. He's not at the top. He's not in charge of when games get released or if they're going to be pushed back or like scheduling or anything like that. But because this is so close to me, I love the franchise so much. I'm almost setting myself up for it not to happen so that I can be excited when it does,
Yeah. Also, we say have faith in Gears and in Gears 6. Don't put too much faith into the Master Chief Collection. Not the Master Chief Collection.
The Marcus Phoenix collection.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes a ton of sense, but still not convinced.
I guess it brings me on to my next thing. That you've said it before, Fraser, but there's going to be a shadow drop. At least we believe there's going to be a shadow drop.
Rumors are rumors.
Rumors are rumors. We're not going to take them as like solid information. We'll take it with a pinch of salt. But it's from a fairly accurate source in the past, and we think there's going to be a shadow drop. Some people think that if the Marcus Phoenix collection does exist, we'll get a reveal for maybe Gears 6, and then they'll be like, hey, here's the Marcus Phoenix collection.
No.
But just no. I was thinking that maybe if it's not going to be Gears 6, it's definitely not going to be the Marcus Phoenix collection. It might be Doom. Specifically, Doom the Dark Ages.
That would be ridiculous.
Yeah.
It would be ridiculous. But according to Inside Gaming, it's been worked on for 4 years now.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. Doom Eternal was quite a long time ago now, even though it was right as COVID was. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't talk about COVID.
No. But yeah, I think that it's about time we saw something from id. Whether it's a shadow drop, as Fraser's just said, that like shadow dropping a new Doom is like shadow dropping Hi-Fi Rush and then shadow dropping Doom. are like two completely different things.
Shadow dropping Doom is the biggest announcement of the weekend, surely.
Yeah.
We say that, but like, I don't know if it's just me, but Doom's great and all, but I don't think like Doom is the toppity tier of all of the game announcements that could happen. And I think people would lose their mind if, you know, a new Doom game got shadow dropped. But I also think it's like weirdly, really narratively fitting. They've been working on it for 4 years. Eternal is pretty much like the groundwork for what I can imagine it would be. Obviously, this is a medieval inspired Doom world. This is what's going around.
Yeah.
It's like it's an old timey Doom.
I'm so here for that.
But like almost like you can take a lot of the groundwork from Eternal and move it into Doom and just change a lot of things. And, you know, 4 years worth of development time, I think, with both the base level and all of these new additions and stuff, that it could be the game that gets shadow dropped. If not, it's going to be this year, definitely.
I have no doubt that that id Software will put together an amazing Doom experience. They always do. My question would be, without Mick Gordon as the audio guy, how much is that going to affect the experience? Because he was a massive part of these last two games. Massive.
Yeah.
I still remember playing the reboot Doom, like the first of the reboots, and chainsawing through a demon and the music kicking in, and I felt like my teeth were like chainsaws. I was so into it. My entire being felt fuzzy and like ready to go, and I was like, yeah, this is amazing. And he's not working on the project.
The thing that's interesting about that is I wonder if that like plays into the whole Dark Ages thing, is like you've just said about chainsawing people and the music being so tied to that, and I think it could be quite a different experience than maybe the last couple of Doom games.
We're gonna start getting some flute,
which might be
flute and mandolin.
It might be for the best, having a bit of a different experience. You know, they did. They might need to change it up a little bit, and this might be a fresh start. But yeah, I will miss his badass tunes.
Well, prior to like this whole chat about the Dark Ages one, people seem to be pointing towards a new Quake as like that was the id announcement that was coming. So I think people are expecting something a little bit different from id. We'll see if it ends up being Quake or a flute lathered.
I mean,
Dark
Quake
Ages Doom.
was made in the Dark Ages of gaming, so maybe it is just Quake.
I would love like a flute soundtrack. Just flute, nothing else. Let's do it.
Just flute, no game audio, no nothing, just flute.
No spiders and flute.
No spiders, flute soundtrack. This is how games should be made in 2024.
I guess before we move on, is there any shadow drop theories that you have? Like,
yes.
Yes.
Towerborn.
Yes. Towerborn. We think it's going to be Towerborn.
I think will be the shadow drop.
All right.
It's been in testing for a while. Okay, it might not be the big AAA game that everyone wants to be a shadow drop, but it's still going to be a first-party game. It looks really good, and yeah, I feel like it can't be far off, ready to go. We haven't heard anything in a little while in terms of its release, and yeah, it would make sense for that to be the one.
I mean, that's a fairly good shout. Ben, have you got any?
If it isn't the Dark Ages, the Doom game, not the actual Dark Ages.
They'll shadow drop the Dark Ages.
Yeah, we're going that way. AI takes
that's
over.
happening anyway. I think it'll just be another. If it's not Doom the Dark Age, I think it'll just be another completely like unheard of side project from another hi-fi style thing.
It's definitely not hi-fi.
No, it's definitely not.
Definitely not hi-fi too.
That type of thing where it's from an established studio, but we don't have any clue on what it is.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What I want to move on to next is a game that we've seen a lot of the development cycle. You know, we heard about it way back in 2021. It's been delayed several times. We haven't seen much of it in recent months, but I have a feeling that Replaced is going to get a release date. This is the 2.5D like Blade Runner looking pixel art game, and it looks gorgeous. I was up for it in 2021, and I just think that we're going to get a release date for it.
We've got to get there at some point, and obviously it's been delayed over the last few years. We interviewed the team about it in 2021, and we were hoping back then it was going to come out soon. So we've got to get there soon, and yeah, it's got to be getting closer. It looks great. We're excited for it for sure. It's going to be on Game Pass, so let's hope this is the year.
I have a feeling it's going to come out in the autumn. I think summer's too soon, but I think we'll get a replaced release date. But if we're gonna, cast our gaze back to the start of the year, Xbox had their second developer direct, which I think is a great showcase. It's a really good way to communicate from developers themselves what the year ahead looks like. And because it's about the year ahead, we're starting to think that maybe we're going to see some more from Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Avowed, Ara. Is it Ara Untold? History Untold? I've never said it out loud. I've only typed it. But yeah, Fraser, what do you think we're going to hear about the games shown at the Developer Direct?
Well, we've kept having this sort of internal debate about, well, what month do you think this game's coming out and this game's coming out? I think we're going to hear about Indiana Jones. That's probably going to be late this year, November, December, unless it gets pushed. But I don't think we'd even hear about that until later in the year. So let's say November. Avowed is going to get a date, probably maybe around September time. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, which everyone keeps forgetting about, that's surely coming out soon. That could be your first party drop as well.
I mean, if they shadow dropped Microsoft Flight Simulator, as good as those games are, I think there would be a collective sigh.
Yeah.
I'll stick up for it because I think what they're putting into 2024 looks really cool. They're putting in so much cool stuff. And yeah, okay, there will be a collective sigh because it's not new necessarily in terms of the games already there, but I think it will still feel like a new experience to those who do enjoy Microsoft Flight Simulator. So,
absolutely.
So yeah. That's that. We've got Towerborn as well, which we mentioned. There's potential for others as well. So yeah, and Ara History Untold as well will almost certainly get a date. Don't know when that's going to be, but yeah, I assume we're going to see quite a lot from that Developer Direct earlier this year.
The Developer Direct things. First of all, I think that this year's it was a really good one. I think Indiana Jones for me just completely stole the show, and I am so excited for that game. I will be surprised if it makes this year. I think, like Fraser said, it may still get dated and then pushed, but Xbox has been a bit coy on giving out dates from these Developer Direct shows, so I think the rest of them are pretty safe bets, but I don't think we'll get a date for Indiana Jones.
We also saw visions of Mana from Square Enix during that Developer Direct, which, Square Enix and Xbox have been pretty cozy lately, especially with third-party plans. They're now actually going to be including Xbox in some stuff, which is great because whenever a Square Enix games gets revealed, I just sit there and I wait for it to end because I know it's not coming to Xbox.
You wait for the PlayStation swoosh to come up at the end.
Yeah, exactly. But with that in mind, I wanted to bring us on to our wildcard speculation. Ooh, this is our wish list games. These are the games that we don't expect to show up, but we would be super excited if they do. I think we'll be like that sitting pointing at the screen Leonardo DiCaprio from The Wolf on Wall Street if it does. But yeah, because I've mentioned Square Enix, Fraser, why don't you start us off with your wildcard predictions, and then we'll move on to Ben, and then I'll do mine at the end. So yeah, what do you think? What do you think's coming? What do you want to come, Fraser?
Well, we'll talk Square Enix then, shall we?
Yeah.
So we think Octopath Traveler 2 will be with us in June. That's nice for sure. That'll be on Game Pass as well, if the rumors are to be believed. Great start. But then from there, the big one that I think we absolutely need, we've been waiting forever and ever and ever for it, is let's just take Final Fantasy VII Remake from 2020. Let's take it, bring it over. Square Enix said they want to put everything multi-platform now. They need to do it as part of their new strategy. It's time to bring that over. It's been way too long. And let's just get the ball rolling on those.
Final Fantasy Remake 7 is one of those games that I keep starting, but because I'm so obsessed with achievement hunting, I know there's trophies on PlayStation, but I just never finish it. And I think if it does come to Xbox, it'll be the perfect excuse to get through it.
It would be fantastic. I've never played Final Fantasy VII all the way through, even the original. So I would love to start with the remake. Legend of Dragoon was always my game, not Final Fantasy VII.
It's definitely time for it, unless they are doing something with Rebirth, where it's like a package, and they need to kind of like, and Rebirth needs to have sat on PlayStation for longer.
Yeah,
but it just feels like so long now since Remake. That feels like another world 2020.
Yeah, Remake got integrated as well, so it's like a game that's received an update, like a final update, so to speak, and then it launched on PC. It's on PlayStation. Being on Xbox is about time. But there is one more that you missed off, Fraser, that I believe people would be quite happy about. We've had a little chat about this beforehand, but I believe you have an idea of how the show's going to end, right?
Haha. Well, yeah, not from Square Enix. Not from Square Enix. But
No,
in
not
fact,
from Square
who
Enix.
knows? Who knows where from? Who knows? Maybe not end the show. Maybe not. But at some point,
It's big enough, man. Come on.
yeah,
That was just me kind of sliding the little.
it was.
It's
Yeah.
gonna end
So you're
with
putting
it,
the pressure
so-
on me so people are going to go, oh yeah, it was right, but it wasn't at the end of the show. Banjo Kazooie.
Banjo Kazooie.
It is time. Again, this is another one of those where we keep talking about it every year and saying, well, it's got to happen at some point. And it has got to happen at some point. Last year, Phil Spencer, or it might have even been this year, time is, I don't know.
Time is but an illusion.
Yes. Phil Spencer said to Xbox fans, I've heard what you want Banjo-Kazooie. It's the first time I ever acknowledge him in his 10 years as an Xbox head saying that he's heard that Xbox fans want Banjo-Kazooie, which suggests to me that something is happening. And he's said multiple times in the past that he wants family-friendly type content on Xbox Game Pass. How much more family-friendly do you get than Banjo-Kazooie?
You're not going to get Banjo. You're going to get like Crash versus Spyro versus Banjo in some
No,
weird, like,
no,
battle
don't put
game
that
or
into the
something.
universe. That will happen. And then
The Olympics. The Olympics
No.
2025.
Oh, yeah.
2026.
That's a good shout.
And no offense to Nuts and Bolts, I know people love Nuts and Bolts, but I don't think we want Nuts and Bolts 2 either. We want.
You mean Nuts and Bolts, the original Breath of the Wild?
No, I know people love that game, and that's great, but I think we just need Banjo Kazooie, 3 or whatever.
3E.
3E. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. So that's going to happen this year. There you go.
And it's going to close the show.
Can I
Fraser's
just say
words.
No, I did not
Neither-
say close the show. That's not my words. It's going to come. It's going to appear in the show at some point.
He's getting flustered because he cares.
Neither of us endorse Fraser's message about Banjo.
Well, once again, you should have more faith.
I need a lot of faith. But Ben, how's about your wild cards? Let's hear them so we can judge them aptly.
Talking about blind faith.
This is definitely not endorsed by me.
No, this is not even endorsed by me, and it's my
you
my
go.
wild card. No, let's bring Project Gotham back. We talked about Forza earlier, and although that's something that I think's got a decent chance of showing up, I'm happy for that to drive off into the sunset for the next 5 years while PGR makes its return. It's been nearly 20 years since PGR 4, and it's still the best racing game maybe ever.
Do you think it's better than Team Sonic Racing?
I think
Like,
it's
come
better
on,
than I think it's better than Banjo Kart Racing that's coming out next year. No,
No.
we've got away from like closed circuit arcade races, and there is still a massive market for it. So it's not going to happen. But my wild card is PGR 5.
I mean, there is definitely still an appeal for those, arcadey closed circuit games. Like, Fraser, you just recently bought Blur as well, didn't you?
I did. I'm only 14 years late, and it's great. It's brilliant. And I believe that's from the same developers as PGR, right?
Yeah. So yeah.
but then-
I mean, if
But they went out of business. Am I correct?
yes, they went out of business, but a lot of the team ended up at Playground, which you
Okay.
can kind of there's the DNA there. But yes, I don't know who it'd be made by. It probably wouldn't be Playground. They've got enough on the plate. But
Nah, they've got a 3-team studio going
I mean,
now.
Blur was Activision published, right? So we
Yes.
could just get Blur too.
Oh,
We could.
Blur 2, bring back Split Second. Let's just bring back the glory days.
Talking of glory days, though, I want to know about Craig's wish list.
Yeah, me too. See how he
Is that,
justifies
is
this
that
one.
all you've got, Ben? Is that all you want to come?
Yeah, that's literally. I can't even explain myself any further beyond that. Just that I want PGR back, and it's time for PGR 5.
This is
I
not
mean, it's
endorsed.
it's kind of the same flavor as where I'm going from, because mine is like, my wild card is based on absolutely nothing. It's based on, actually no, I say it's nothing, but I think I saw Jez from Windows Central, like he wrote something about mascots, like having console mascots, and it inspired me thinking about Xbox's mascot. And yes, we do now in the land of green hold the license to Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, but whenever I think of Crash Bandicoot and Spyro, I think about PS1. I don't think about Xbox. I don't think as many years can go by and my head will go, sure, Crash Bandicoot is Xbox's mascot. That makes sense. It just it just doesn't sit right. It doesn't have that flavor of like, yeah, that's Xbox. So with that in mind, I think it's about bloody time that we got another Blinks the Time Sweeper. Oh, what a cute little kitty that is. He's got green eyes. It's, you know, Xbox through and through. And it, like I say, it's based on nothing.
These are not the views of Pure Xbox.
Yes, they are, because I am employed by Pure
insane
Xbox.
man.
Yes, I say this because it's a wish list. It's definitely a wish list. It's not something that we think is going to show up. It's not something that we know is going to show up. It's just something that I would like. And you know, Sony just announced that new Astrobot game. I just booted up the first one, and you know, it started as like a hardware demo for the PS5 DualSense controller, and it turned out to be a really fun platformer.
Yeah.
So they have that. Then there's, you know, Nintendo doing for decades and decades with Mario and Kirby and all of these family-friendly, like little figures that everybody can get behind, buy merch and sell to their kids and all that sort of stuff. But I think it's about time that Xbox like invested in more family like icons, especially from the past, so it like speaks to the older generation of Xbox players like myself. And I think Blinks is the perfect candidate. Well, even though I did hear that they tried to like test it a few years ago, like a few years after the original game. I don't know if it was a 360 thing or if it was still like Blinks 2, but people weren't really fussed about the cat as a character. Well, I just think it's a genuinely good design.
Yeah, as you said as well, it's a good point with the family-friendly thing. They've said they want this, you know, Banjo, Blinks. You can tap into this market where Xbox just hasn't really done anything in ages. And we've seen success with things like Super Lucky's Tale, where they've done really well. It's all about getting a good design out of the game and you know, making something that people can latch onto. And also, cat games seem to be the big thing at the moment. You know,
people love cats.
They do.
They love cats.
The thing about this as well is like Xbox are just kind of dipping their toe into the whole multi-platform thing, and I think you've got these Nintendo Switch commitments, and if you've got, you know, certain games like Banjo versus Crash Kart with a Blinks playsuit to wear, then
I can't imagine it. It's like having like Mario and Sonic at the Olympics, and then here's Blinks in the corner. Like,
I would love that. I'd buy the game. I'd buy the game for Blinks.
It's less of a risk for Xbox to greenlight that kind of thing now that they are thinking about multi-platform.
I don't know why, but I just, you know, like Nintendo have got Mario. PlayStation, I always assume, had Crash, although they don't now, which confuses things. Sega had Sonic, and then Xbox has got like a cat with a vacuum cleaner or whatever he's got.
But it's got Luigi's Mansion vibes. Like, Luigi's Mansion has a great appeal.
It does.
Yeah, but Luigi was established before he wasn't just a cat with a vacuum.
True, but his Hoover wasn't.
Yeah, but who bought Henry just off the go? It's just like Henry the Hoover. Listen, fine, I'll buy a Hoover with a face.
If you can find a developer that can make a game with Blinks that is as innovative as Luigi's Mansion was, you will have a massive hit. Simple as that.
Exactly. And if
Fraser,
you don't do
just
it, then I will
endorsed.
learn how to make games myself, and I will make Blinks. It's
Fraser
gonna
has
happen.
officially endorsed Craig's wish list.
Well,
find the right developer, and it's going to be a mega hit.
yeah, but you could do that with anything, I think. But a cat with a vacuum cleaner or whatever he's got, I don't know what it is. Then fair enough.
It's a time vacuum cleaner.
Oh, a time vacuum cleaner. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
he can
he's
pause
sweeping
time,
time,
he can rewind time, he can fast forward time, or he can just live in the now, which the now says that Blinks is going to show up at Xbox Game Showcase.
I should have more faith on this one.
Yeah, you keep telling me to have more faith when you should have more faith. Well, to round things up, I want to do a quick fire round of just yes and no questions. So I'll ask both Ben and Fraser, and you'll respond with yes or no as fast as you can, and then we'll move on. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Xbox will shadow drop a game during the showcase.
No.
Yes.
Quicker than that, guys. Quicker than that.
Okay.
The Marcus Phoenix collection of Gears 1 to 3 remastered exists, and it will be announced.
No.
That was firm. We'll get an update on State of Decay 3.
No.
Yes.
Perfect Dark will show up.
Yes.
No.
we'll see Fable gameplay,
No.
No.
and it will be a good showcase.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
And Blinks the Time Sweeper will show up.
No.
Yes.
Oh,
you, Ben.
you can't say yes. It's not going to show up. No chance. No chance.
So to summarize this whole video quickly, Xbox will unveil new hardware plans, Activision Blizzard will drop a bunch of games onto Game Pass, whether that'll be during the showcase or not. We'll see details for Starfield's Shattered Space DLC. We're likely to see Forza Horizon 6, Gears 6. Not going to see Gears 1 to 3 Remastered Collection. Replaced will get a launch date, as will Indiana Jones, whether that gets pushed back or not. Avowed and Ara History Untold will get them as well. And we're hoping to see Final Fantasy VII, the remake. We're hoping to see Banjo-Kazooie, Project Gotham Racing, and our favorite kitty, Blinks.
Now watch all of these things not be true.
That's the good thing about a prediction show. You get to the end of this video and you're like, oh wait, should I have had faith in these guys? Have I just wasted my life?
You can write it all off and say it's just the insane ideas of two other men.
Exactly. But yes, make sure to let us know in the comments what you think of our predictions, as well as sharing some of your own predictions of the Xbox Game Showcase. That's all from Ben, Fraser, and myself today. Thank you very much for joining me, chaps, from the Land of Rating. It's been a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Remember to stick with PureXbox.com for all the Summer Game Fest stuff as they happen. And we'll speak to you next from LA, because that's where I'll be. All that's left to say is bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheerio!